The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Café. This is the United Podcast Network.
If you're planning on buying or selling a home, the real estate crew's got news for you at the Real Estate House Party.
With attorney Rick Carter,
Real Estate House Party.
paralegal Kathy Holtshouser,
Real Estate House Party. Come in, have fun.
and comedian Tony V. Now, here's real estate attorney Rick Carter.
Welcome and thanks for joining us here on the Real Estate House Party. We got Tony V, Mr. Humanitarian.
Yeah.
We got Kathy
Yeah.
H,
Yep.
Paralegal Extraordinaire.
Yep.
I don't have any awards
Oh,
this week.
you get awards, and the live
you're the
live audience
paralegal.
is still pulling in. They must know Mike.
It's called payroll.
Oh, that's my reward.
Yeah.
Bi-weekly award.
Yeah, award, right. That's right. I'm always introduce Mike first. Go ahead. I'll wait. Go ahead. Go
Mike
already.
Procopio of the Procopio Companies
There
now.
we go. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Little change.
And you got
Used
that.
to be Procopio Construction.
Now it's
Used to be a whole
Procopio
bunch of
Companies?
things. Used to be a
Yeah.
whole bunch of things.
How
Now
many-
we're all under one tent.
How many companies are there?
I don't know, like 8 or 9.
He's Mr. Big Pants.
Wow.
Yeah.
8 or 9 companies?
I-
Go ahead.
I-
Name
I
them.
am big
Name 'em.
hands.
Go ahead.
And what do they do?
I dare you. Name 'em.
Mike seems very serious
I
and
know.
stressed out today.
I'm
No.
not stressed out at all.
Okay.
I'm good.
Mike,
Well,
it seems
well,
like
this-
since you got your 8 companies, there's a lot of overmodulation going on. You were never like this before.
Listen, if you were the CEO of 8 major companies.
I am not the CEO. I'm not the CEO
What
of
are you?
any of them.
What are you?
I'm a minor functionary.
No, you're not.
No.
Stop it. Stop it. We're
No.
talking about.
Well, you're the heir
Who's
to the
C-
throne, aren't
Who's
you?
the CEO?
His
My
dad.
dad.
Your dad?
Yeah.
Oh, then
Some of them.
You'll be CEO
Yeah.
eventually. That's how I got a
Maybe
kayak.
not.
Well,
You-
'cause
you
your dad
planned
had
that all out,
He
right?
had a birthday involved.
Right,
That's
right,
why. That's
right.
right.
All right, tell us about the
You got a few
humanitarian,
things. Yeah, you got-
humanitarian award.
All right, that's a little thing.
Oh, stop
No,
it.
it's big.
Stop
no,
it.
I
He's
do
a
this-
human, and he
yeah.
got an award.
my son, Gus, of course, he goes, humanitarian, does that mean you eat humans now? He goes, vegetarians eat vegetables, humanitarians must eat humans.
What
I'm
do
shocked
they say
your
about-
son would come up with that.
I'm starting your way, buddy.
What do they say about the apple? The apple.
that's right.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
no, I wouldn't have it any other way.
I know.
You know.
So what is it? What'd you do?
I do a show, fundraiser every year, and sometimes more, for Harvest on Vine, which is the food pantry in
Charlestown, yeah?
Yeah, run by a good buddy of mine, Tom McDonald.
Nice.
And is connected to the church, which is how I sort of, that's why you wouldn't think I'd be involved. You know what I mean? The church and I.
It's been a lot of
Yeah,
buzzwords that I didn't think you'd be involved
right,
in.
exactly.
So.
Well, the priest handed me this award, and I go, dude, don't stand too close. Lightning could strike at any minute, So we do.
I thought it
and-
was a priest joke. but
yeah,
I
no,
was
no,
wondering
No,
where you
we
were
gotta
going with
leave
that.
the priests
No,
out.
no,
All
yeah.
right, all right.
they-
No, you're
But
right.
you
No.
know, so I do this every year, and I got roped in by one of the do-gooder mothers, and
And now you're a do-gooder.
And now I'm a do-gooder by default, and I do it with Carson Tager from 104.1
Nice.
Mix, the morning guy,
Yeah.
and we host it every year, and we didn't know it was coming, and my wife didn't even know it was a big deal, because they give you a crystal, plaque or whatever. But then I got a proclamation from the governor.
Really?
And,
Yeah,
I had
it's a big
yeah,
deal.
Yeah, one of the state reps they all signed it, and Danny Ryan, who's our state rep, I got a City of Boston proclamation. So my wife, when I came home, my wife goes, "Oh, if I knew it was a big deal, I would have come." She goes, "You come home with a piece of glass from 8 or 9 shows a year. It's no big deal. Everyone's giving you something. Thanks for working for free." But this was a legit thing. And I got to say this: if you can get involved with food banks in your
Yeah.
local area, you should do that.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, build
That's
them a
awesome.
house.
Wow.
Build them a house.
If we had some real estate experts on, we could do
we
that.
can figure out how to
Yeah.
do that.
We could do that.
Well, we know
Yeah.
somebody at Procopio Companies.
Companies.
I know it's going to take us a little while to get used to that.
Yeah.
He's
Fail so far. Little thought process.
fail.
All right, we got to
That's all
talk trends. Because I know when you come on, we always seem to want to talk trends.
We
and-
talk trends.
And litigation.
Yeah, we've got trends right
some
now.
about that. So.
Well, what are the trends?
All right.
That's really easy. The trend is there's no houses to sell
Right.
or buy.
Right. Is it still
Maybe
that
that's
way?
what's making him so
It is.
grumpy.
No, So it's making my agents very grumpy.
It's not making us very
It's
happy
not making
either.
me very
Yeah.
I got 8 companies. No one's doing anything.
Yeah.
We got no houses
yeah.
to sell.
Yeah, we're going to have to go back to company real quick.
So
No,
there's nothing to sell, but it
it's
always
ridiculous.
seems
And
like there's
son. You're going to have to go back to and son.
Yeah.
Procopio and son.
Yeah.
well,
Maybe.
there's another
Just the two of
there's
us.
another son, right?
Yeah.
Two sons and sons.
We should bring back the V factor because we have some notes right here.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, wait, hold on a second. He says that there's no houses to sell.
Yeah, explain
I
that.
drive down a street and I see for sale signs. So what does that mean?
Well, it's obviously I'm not being literal that there's none to sell. I mean, there are houses
so
for sale.
grumpy.
I'm not grumpy. There's houses for sale.
This is my show,
it's
you
just
know, Mike.
all
Wait a second.
garbage. It's all garbage.
Let me ask one question. How old are your kids?
1 and 2.
That's why he's grumpy.
Yeah.
You ever been around 1 and 2 year olds? Yeah, that's why you're grumpy. 2
and
things.
2.
You're not getting sleep and you're not getting something else.
Yeah.
And that makes you grumpy.
Yeah.
You ever wonder about that when you'd see your dad when you were young?
Yeah.
Why is dad so mad?
Yeah, no, it
Then
all
you
makes
become
sense.
Yeah,
then you
dad's
become a
been
dad.
mad.
I'm
you
a dad,
go,
and you're like, oh, the
Oh,
man
I
was,
get it
yeah,
now,
the
right.
man, yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's really nothing out there.
All right.
Yeah.
Back on track here. There's nothing. It's all garbage.
So anything that comes on the market goes off the
or it's
market. Is,
outrageously overpriced.
Okay.
I mean outrageously so. And I'm aggressive. Like in this market, you can be aggressive.
Right.
But there's people putting these houses up that even in this market, I mean, they should be going up for like say 900. These like bigger houses. They're not brand new, and they're putting them up for 1.2.
Right,
And they're getting
right.
it.
Okay, that's crazy.
With
Are they
multiple
getting them?
offers.
I don't know that those guys are getting it. I think those are sitting there on the market. But I mean, it's still pretty light. I mean, I don't know that I looked this week, but I looked at the end of last week in MLS at like Saugus, which a typical house load is 70 houses on the market.
Wow.
And there was like 16.
no way.
Wow, that's a big
Singles.
drop off.
Yeah.
Singles,
Yeah, there's nothing out there.
But the 16 houses that are on the market are either going under agreement or they're going to sit.
Yeah.
They're
yeah.
like-
it breaks very quickly.
Okay.
All right,
And there's not a lot in that middle market. You've got a lot of stuff that, is traditionally first-time buyers. And then
Right.
you've got a bunch of stuff that's really high-end.
Yep.
And then you've kind of got people that are kind of
What's the
out
middle
of luck,
market
out of
in
luck in the middle.
Saugus?
I would say from like 500 to 750, 800.
Isn't
I'd
that
call that
funny?
the middle market.
That's
Yeah.
the middle market.
That's move up.
market.
That's people
Right.
that's people that bought a house,
Moving
did
up.
well, lived in it for 8 or 9 years. They want to
they
move
wanna
up.
trade up.
They want to
Yeah,
move
cashing
up,
out.
and there's nothing to buy in that. You
Right.
can't buy a house.
So they're
in
not going to
Saugus for
sell.
750.
They're not
I mean,
going to
it's gonna
sell their
be-
first-time home.
I think they're just going to stay. I think you're going to see a resurgence of additions, big additions,
yeah.
which for a lot of time where people were boxed, there was no financial benefit to doing an addition, over building new
Right.
for a long time. Now
Right.
there is, because you could take your house that's worth, 500, throw a $300,000 addition on it, and you've got a house that's a heck of a lot more house than you could go buy for $800,000.
I see.
Right.
And you get to keep the original interest rate you had, as
Yeah,
opposed to
right. And
now
not-
buying and getting in the 4s
Yeah,
and
and
5s.
not every house is set up for that, but for those people that would work for, yeah, I
Right.
think you're going to see that coming back, a lot more
Yeah.
than we have over the past 10 years, where people just sold it and bought a new house.
All right, so
Right.
related to all that is what I hear all the time. You probably hear it too. We all hear it. I can't sell because I have nowhere to go.
Right.
Ooh,
Yeah,
What?
that's my wife.
rent.
That's right.
That's my
Rent.
wife.
Yeah.
Did you see what your neighbor's selling
Yeah,
their house for?
I did.
Text you
I
early
did.
Sunday morning. I was
2.45
texting everyone.
What?
across the street. For 4 houses down across
Yeah.
the street.
2.45
Single-family dwelling?
Right, right.
Wow.
Single.
Yeah,
With
single
no-
family.
No parking.
It's a brownstone. Yeah,
Yeah.
No
no
parking.
parking.
In Charlestown,
Yeah, they have
on the
I
best
think,
street in Charlestown.
At the best street in Charlestown,
Right.
Monument Ave.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
We don't want to
yes.
give out where you live, but
No,
Oh, we
I just did.
But it's 4 houses down from the house that's for sale on Monument Ave for 2.4.
It's one of the many.
What's your price point, Tony?
make
you might
me
have
move
to.
price.
Well, my walkaway price used to be $2 million, but I've gone past that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's my
Who
wife
needs
going.
the
But
movies?
that's my wife going. If we sell, where are we going to go? We're going to have to buy something in Charlestown. It's going to be just as expensive.
You can rent. You
Go
can rent on Revere
somewhere.
Beach.
Go rent somewhere.
Ooh, now I like the way you're
Rent
thinking.
on Revere Beach.
Put the money in the bank.
Yeah.
Go to Aruba for 4 months a year.
Yeah.
See, you're
Rent.
perfect for it because you're always in Aruba.
Yeah.
Right.
Let prices.
Well, you got to wait a couple
Fall.
of years because your kids are still.
Oh, to hell with them.
Oh,
That's
no,
why
but
I'm
they're-
grumpy. When they're 1 and 2, then they get to be 20 and 18, and I'm
know.
still grumpy.
I know.
Go,
You
I
got a
say.
couple more
I say,
years.
go already. Go.
That's what
Don't-
they make boarding schools
Yeah.
for.
Don't you have a life to get to?
All right, are there some ideas we can give these these sellers who are refusing to put their house on the. I think we can revolutionize the market today. What?
right.
Why wouldn't we?
Okay,
No,
Rick.
today we're going to
Strong word.
revolutionize.
You're the disruptor.
We're on
We're
the
gonna be
cutting
the
edge.
disruptor.
We
We're gonna
are
be the
on the
cutting
cutting
edge
edge
today.
Yes.
Let's hear it.
Let's hear
All
it.
right.
Those aren't in my notes. The revelation of,
Yeah.
or what is it? The revolution.
I'm puffing a little bit.
Okay.
Is puffing legal in Massachusetts?
Yeah. No.
Look, even Mike's reading the notes. Where's
Yeah,
the
we can
revolution
puff.
I
going
don't see
on?
it.
Puffing's fine. Go
All
ahead.
right. So this is what we got to do because everyone on. This is going to revolutionize the. You guys ready? For
Everyone
this?
sell their house?
Yeah,
I'm on
look
the
at-
edge of my seat
at
already.
the
Let's
live
go.
I've been on the
audience.
edge of my seat for 15 minutes at this point. Let's go.
Let's go. Move it along.
Oh
Ricky.
my God.
They gotta have a clause in their listing agreements in their purchase and sales. It's subject to them finding suitable housing. I know you hate that. You probably hate that idea.
I don't hate the idea. This is not revolutionary.
I know.
We've used that for 25
But
years.
we gotta change the terminology of it.
Okay, so what do we want to go to?
Instead of finding suitable,
Suitable
housing,
housing.
Yeah.
That's
it
a
should be-
big.
it should be subject to closing on that suitable housing. Because how do you decide when is that seller
Okay.
on the hook to sell his other house?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Has this become an issue? That's a
Yeah.
legitimate.
Yeah.
That's a legitimate question.
Yeah.
You've
Yeah,
had
yeah.
this as an
Yes.
issue where somebody said, "Oh, you found the house. You just couldn't
Exactly.
close on it."
Exactly. So that's exactly what I. where
And
I'm
what
at.
is really
Oh.
suitable housing? Does it mean that they're
Correct.
going to go rent a condo
Correct.
unit down the street?
Well, it's
or,
purposely vague.
Yeah.
Right.
In the suitable housing arena, that wording is purposely vague to benefit the seller
Right.
because it's suitable to them.
Suitable,
I
right.
found
But
a,
then it twisted because sometimes it doesn't actually protect the seller because the buyer can say, well, you did find the suitable housing, and for some reason it fell through.
Yeah, you
You're
couldn't
still
close on it.
obligated to sell me the house now.
Right,
Because
right.
you said it was subject to finding suitable housing.
Right.
You found it.
And you found it.
yeah.
Right, there's
I don't see a lot of buyers allowing. I don't see a lot of
Right.
buyers going for the
Right.
the suitable housing.
Yeah, there's a big difference
Clause.
between finding a big bag of money and having the money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
That's exactly what
Exactly.
it is. Hey, there's a
Exactly.
big bag of money. Yeah, it ain't yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I found it. Yeah, but it's not yours.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
You
So
still
that's
got to
what it
jump
is.
over a few more
Right,
hurdles
right.
to get that
You-
bag.
that bag of money,
It
right.
looks like you have
Sure.
that hurdle right.
I know
done.
where it is. It's in
Right,
the
right.
bank. I just can't get to it.
Right. Right.
So I
yes.
found it.
So that's the problem with that. When they say it's subject to finding suitable housing, and the seller says, "All right, I'm going to finally sell. I'll put that clause in." They do find a house. They have their house now sold, and now it's on. The house that they're purchasing falls through.
So what are you putting in? What are you
Well,
doing?
that's it. This is where the
What are you doing?
revolutionary part. We got to have it subject to, and you're right, buyers are not going to like this. So which will bring me to my other point there. If you're totally trying to protect the buyer and seller, you can't put all these legal terms in because your offer's not going to get accepted these
Right.
days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it's subject to you selling your house.
Well, that's the thing. The buyers aren't in the driver's
had
seat, right?
No. Well,
Not really.
No, they're not.
Because there's 15 buyers that all have
Correct.
different requirements.
Or
and there's
70.
one. I'm just making
Right,
an
right,
example, but
right.
and there's
Yeah,
one seller, and
Yeah.
he gets to pick between those
Yeah.
15 buyers. So if the seller doesn't like the language, or the buyer doesn't like what's going on, they're going to just tell him to hit the pavement.
No,
right?
it's a little bit of a quandary because, to totally protect you, this is what you should put in there. But you're not going to get your offer approved on a lot of
Right.
times if you're going to put that in there. Look at Mike's got.
No.
Well, you're like the
Yeah,
deal
he's
killer then.
contemplating.
No, I'm trying to keep them together.
You know
I'm
what I
trying to
think
keep-
they ought to do is add that to your marriage vows.
subject
know.
to finding suitable
Right,
housing.
Right, no. I'll stay with you, subject to finding a more suitable
Subject to-
spouse. Look, I'm with you.
We're
if something
good.
better comes
Yeah.
along, you got to go.
Is there a time frame for this
No,
trade-in?
no, I think it should
at
be
any time. You can
open-ended.
trade
The
up.
phrase we
Either
like
one.
to use is suitably vague.
vague. Yeah, and,
okay.
either spouse can do it. I mean, it
okay.
goes for the wife
Okay.
and the husband.
Well,
that's
You
good.
know,
That's-
yeah.
That's basically the law,
Because
anyways.
you're
Yeah.
fair about things.
I
You're
don't.
very
I'm not
fair.
sexist. I don't discriminate.
You're figuring
Men
it
can
out,
be
right,
just
Mike?
as trouble
right.
in a marriage as it's partners. You know what I mean?
Are you
and
feeling,
now
are you
everybody's
feeling
marrying.
emotionally abused?
No, I'm a humanitarian. I just love the world.
Are you?
No, I just
I couldn't.
he was getting very whimsical down the other end of the table, and I figured I would just pump the brakes a little bit.
Because I get sometimes comedians in general, and me because of my demeanor, we get called sexist, like
Yeah.
my wife this, my wife that, But it goes across the board. I don't care, man or woman. Except when you're in a donut shop, it's always a woman screwing things up.
And it was the do-gooder mother that
Right.
It was a
ran
do-gooder
that,
mother.
the food bank.
The food bank.
Yeah,
right.
that got you the award.
Well, that's the thing. Women run all of these events I do. If
Yeah,
it was
'cause
a guy, it'd go, how much do you need? Here's a check. Leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
The ball game's
We're not
on.
doing an event.
Right.
I got better stuff to
what
do.
What do you need?
Yeah.
A grand? Here it
Yeah.
is. Go. Go. Get out of my face.
So in your trade-up rule,
Right.
the one exception is
Yeah.
a donut shop.
A
can't be
donut
bought.
shop. You ever
Okay.
get in back of a woman in a donut
I
shop?
have. I
and
have.
they, donuts are donuts.
Right,
And
right,
I
right.
don't know. My husband doesn't like the jelly, and I have 2 crullers and the
How
chocolate
many
is
are
too
in
much.
there? Can you count those
Yeah.
now?
Did I already say?
the worst is
did I already
the
say
thing is, not
blueberries?
many
Just
women-
get the donuts. Take them.
Not many women go
gonna
into
kill
a
you.
donut shop.
That's
I
not true.
haven't
That's
been-
not true. That's not true.
No, it's not
That's not
true
true.
at all.
Cane's Donuts is outrageous on a Saturday
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear
it's
about?
outrageous
I heard
anytime.
this on. I don't know where I heard it, but this.
This is one of these shows we got to raise our hands
This
because we got a lot
no,
of.
this overweight woman was standing behind in a muffin shop
Muffin
or
shop,
a
yeah.
cupcake
Sure.
shop, and there were
Bakery. Let's go with bakery.
and the two
Because
older
the muffin is sexist.
Yes.
You know that.
Yes.
so two older women were standing behind her,
Yeah.
and they must have been hard of hearing or whatever, and
Yeah.
one whispered into the other
Deaf,
one's
we can say
ear,
deaf. They were deaf.
said, "I hope this fat chick doesn't buy all the cupcakes."
Oh.
And the girl heard it,
Yeah.
and she went and she bought every
cupcake.
cupcake in the bakery.
She was triggered.
Yeah, I like that.
I think she spent $100 on cupcakes.
Worth every nickel.
Yeah.
Worth every nickel.
Anyway.
Right.
All right, I don't mind standing behind him in the donut shop, but it's the drive-through that drives me nuts.
Oh yeah.
The what?
The bagel?
drive-through.
Oh, the drive.
I got a bagel. I got a toasted egg bagel.
Yeah, there's gotta be a
Takes
limit.
about 8 seconds
Sure,
to make.
sure.
But the person in front of me the other day brought out 2 duffel bags full of
Yeah, that's
food
out of
for
control.
their company.
Yeah, no,
In
there should be a
drive-through.
limit.
You know what's the tough thing about drive-throughs now? I get like anxiety. You pull up to McDonald's
too.
and you got the 2 lanes.
Right.
And you're like, I don't know. I
Oh,
don't know
yeah,
which
yeah.
one.
Way to go.
What do I
always the
do?
wrong
Left
lane.
or right?
Right,
Which
right.
one's
Which one's gonna go
It's
faster?
like I
Go
don't need.
fast.
I don't need this. I deal with this
Yeah.
anxiety when I'm buying my
it's the
3
same.
things at the grocery
Right.
store. I don't
Yeah.
need this anxiety when I'm trying to get an egg
Look,
McMuffin.
I do that at the bank. You ever go to the bank? I know people don't go to the bank anymore. I still go to a brick and mortar bank.
Yeah.
You know, and then I'll go in there, right?
'Cause you
And
wanna
the-
see the pot of money.
Right. I want to see the money. I found it in case someone
Found
goes,
it.
"Can you find the money?" I go, "I found it. It's right. I get right behind that wall. There's tons of it." But you go in and the bank's empty. You know, and then you go to get your deposit slip, and you put your head down and write. You look up, and all of a sudden, there's 100 people, and they all got to, change
25
Canadian
transactions.
Canadian dollars into Cougarans. All of a sudden, it's like the most complicated. I get it. It's a little bit. I get it.
I just really want to make this deposit.
All right, if we're all venting, let me tell
right.
you mine. I was at, I won't say the name of the company, to change my phone, get a new phone.
Yeah.
Oh, just say it.
All right, so you were at AT&T.
Thank you.
All right. So you just use their initials.
That's right.
Correct.
Right.
No one is in there.
No one's in there.
Everyone's at Microsoft and
Yeah,
Apple.
yeah, sure.
And I know why now. It was the worst. All right.
The worst? Yeah.
Yeah. And I liked when I went in there because they have a little iPad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They say, all right, and your name is? And I said, Rick.
Rick.
There's no one in the place.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah. You really need to check me
I
in.
know.
Why don't you just help me?
Right. And the best was they said, what's your last initial of your last name?
Oh, so you can differentiate me
Yeah,
from the other
all the other
75 Ricks. that are here.
The problem that Rick Carter had was he got a little snippy with the guy checking him
I'm
in.
guessing he got a lot snippy. Is
Yeah.
what I'm
and
guessing.
so they were out back playing poker while he was
yeah.
waiting for
Oh,
his
yeah,
phone.
yeah,
I said,
yeah.
is that to differentiate
Yeah.
me with all the other Ricks
You know what
flying
you,
right
you
now?
know what you do then?
Yeah.
You go around and put all of their speakers on demo mode, all those Sonos speakers, and you just crank them up, and they'll stop playing Pokemon in the back room really quick.
I went into I went into a T-Mobile store. I went into
Is
a
that their
T-Mobile
initials?
store.
Take everyone down
Is that
today.
their initials?
A T-Mobile.
Yeah.
TM. Oval.
TM.
It's TM Oval. And they don't have enough people to help you.
Yeah, and they're all wearing magenta, which
Right.
is the problem.
This color scheme is not me.
No.
It washes out my complexion. It's not good. But, and I say to the guy, I go, why people are looking for jobs? Because you're not hiring them. You need more people in here. There's 6 of us and one of you.
Yeah.
If you had 3 more people in here, it's
Yeah.
above my pay grade.
Yep,
sir.
and then your name went to the bottom
Oh,
of the list,
yeah.
and they went
and
back
they can't.
to play.
You know what's crazy? It's it's hysterical actually now that we're thinking about this because they're all the same. All these phone companies, right? So you go in there to do something. I always have to go in there all the time because business account stuff.
Sure.
We got like 25
You got a
phones
lot
or whatever.
going on, yeah.
Got to go in there. I have to go in personally because of course they won't deal with anybody else,
Sure.
right? So you go in there and then. The associates in the store can't actually solve the problem. They're like, well, we've got to call in the number on this. So then they call on speakerphone, 1-800 whatever. They're going through the prompts. It's like, I'm in the VZW store.
Right.
You can't just solve this problem from the computer. You got to call somebody in India to do this?
I had to come here so I didn't have to do that.
Right.
And now you're doing it for me.
Right.
It's not like
and
I
I'm
didn't-
standing here
Right.
like an idiot.
Now I feel useless.
Yeah.
Getting a lot off our chest.
So
Yeah.
home prices
I'll
surged
tell you
nearly
about, I'll tell you about my
9%.
area code issue at the end of the
Biggest
show.
growth spurt in 4 years.
Don't mock my stats here.
What
All
is
right,
it now?
That's what-
Home price. This is the V factor.
Yeah.
We haven't had the V factor in a while.
We'll get one up.
We'll
yeah.
get
Well,
one. Home prices surged nearly 9% over the last year. Biggest growth spurt in 4 years.
That seems like a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot. The lack of homes for sale,
Which we
was
just touched on.
was overall 3.9% decline in sales from a year ago.
Yeah, which makes
We
sense
know
because
that.
this is a straight supply and demand problem.
Yeah.
23.9% of homes are selling above list price.
Wow.
Sellers,
Yep.
sellers are closing quicker.
Yeah.
Yep. Now,
See, that I disagree with.
really, this says if
That-
we
who says
new
this?
list-
Redfin?
Yes.
Sellers are closing quicker.
If we see new listings, yes, they're closing within. I'm sorry, not closing. Going under agreement.
Oh, yeah.
quicker.
Okay, that makes
Oh,
sense.
yeah.
I'm starting
Yeah.
to see closing times start to drag
Oh,
out again.
God.
Getting
How
a little out
long?
of control.
Like
We're
45 days.
Yeah,
or
we're starting to
60
approach the
days.
60 days again,
Yeah.
which is
Right.
ridiculous.
Right.
Nothing
Right.
takes 60 days.
Right.
And no one
Rome was
stays-
built in
no one
less than
sticks
60
to the
days.
time
Except
frames
if you're in
anymore.
a phone store.
So you're in a
That
phone
could
store, it
take
takes 60 days. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's true.
And you can understand that.
Yeah,
There's
'cause-
a lot of buttons to push.
But
A lot of prompts.
A lot of prompts.
But you know what, Mike? I think 30 days is a tough to stay right in that 30-day range. If you're having the buyer's attorney review the purchase and sale agreement, the seller's attorney review it, then you're going to wait for home inspection, right?
Yep.
There's usually some volleying going on, and if everyone isn't all hands on deck, sometimes that's dragged out for 5 business days. So now you've cut that into.
Mike has that contrarian look on his
Well,
face.
I know, 'cause he's so contrarian today.
No, that's not true. That's not true. I get that, and I understand. Obviously, I see that all the time, right? I
Right.
mean, yeah, when it takes 2 weeks to go back and forth over these stupid points in the P&S, of course you've just blown 2 weeks arguing
Right.
about it, right? If somebody's on vacation or at the Cape or doing
Right.
something where nobody else is able to handle it, I mean, yeah, that's a problem. But the other part of me says, look, this is 2018. There is nothing we can't do.
I agree.
I mean, this
Right.
isn't government work. There's nothing we can't
Right.
do in 30 days.
Right.
You're telling me it takes 30 days to qualify someone?
Right.
It takes an hour to sit down
You
with the
would be
package
surprised.
and go through the underwriting at the bank and say done deal, right? I mean,
Right.
no, seriously. I mean,
No, I
it's a
know.
little out of control that they need all this time.
But
and,
the thing is, we could have a loan in the pipeline for 30 or 40 days. We have all of our title work. Even if we have a title problem, we can usually get through that in 30 days. Everybody has all hands on deck. Sometimes we get a phone call from a lender like the day before the closing looking for a copy of the deposit check or looking for this or looking for that. And we're like,
We compare it to the high school exam. You know how people
you
wouldn't
knew
study.
all
Yeah.
You had the whole semester to read
Yeah.
about it,
Right.
but then they decide the night before.
They just got to it.
I just
sure.
got to it. Yeah,
See,
exactly.
like I've actually seen.
I think that's a
I'm in the
pipeline
middle. I'm
problem.
in the middle of a. Yeah, it's a pipeline problem and a process problem.
That's what I
with the
mean,
lender.
yeah.
So I'm in the middle of a couple of big, large commercial transactions, and they've gone smoother and closed quicker.
Right.
Than
Than,
one
than your
residential.
your
Yeah.
average ranch on the Fellsway in
Right.
Saugus,
Well,
Right.
which
because
is crazy because you're telling me you can close a $10 million commercial portfolio loan.
Right.
Right.
Well, here's what I think the problem is. Those are manual transactions.
right.
There is a senior person at the bank, eyes on the file,
All the
literally
time.
doing the work on
Well,
the
because
file.
it's $10 million.
Nothing's automated. Yeah,
Right.
nothing's automated. Nothing's falling through the cracks, and it's just it's very streamlined. And now you're taking just a random mortgage that half of it's automated underwriting,
Well,
and then
it's
that has an
supposed to
error,
be.
and we got to go figure out what the error was.
It's
and
supposed to be streamlined, and I kind of know, just because we do closings all day long, I know when I haven't heard from somebody and I've already submitted all of our legal work
Yeah.
and everything. I'll say, are we on track for the 27th
You know
of
this
April?
closes
that's-
Monday, right?
That is why you're at the top of your game.
Yeah,
You're
that's
right.
why I
Yeah.
get
Oh,
my
oh,
award.
She's an apex
That
paralegal.
is fantastic.
Wow.
Like an
Apex.
apex predator.
It's like, you know what it's like? It's like when you go to the post office and you give them a letter, and they go, that could be there,
Yeah.
Thursday. You go, well, what if I gave you $6 more? They go, well, that'll be there tomorrow at noon.
Yeah.
I go,
It'll be tomorrow at 7 a.m.
Right, right.
Oh, so you can
You
do
can
that.
do it.
Yeah.
So you're just
Oh,
going
that's
to
a
walk
good
by the
idea,
other one?
Tony.
You're going to go walk by the other stuff? No,
Yeah.
didn't give us enough.
I have a good idea
The
now.
post office is that's a good question for you guys.
I have a problem with the post office. Before you guys jump
No,
in there.
no.
Why do you have to put a stamp on something? If you're at the post office when they're putting the P.O. box,
Yeah.
I just find that
Oh, I
annoying.
did that the other day.
Yeah.
You can't just throw it in the box for
No,
me?
I had
You
a
good
have
question.
to charge me?
All
That's a
right,
good
I'm going to go
question.
back to
I
our
had-
But I
list.
have a serious post office question. Are
ahead.
you guys losing stuff in the mail
Yeah.
constantly?
Yes. Yeah.
All the
We
time.
have now literally over the past year, maybe 18 months, we have to FedEx everything.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Everything.
Well, it becomes,
it's crazy.
you know,
But the
it's
post
They're
office-
losing. Not a month goes by where people aren't calling us telling us they lost checks in the mail.
right.
Wow.
Same with us.
Saying we didn't get our payment. We're like, well, we mailed it on the 23rd. Like,
Right.
All
Right.
crazy.
But then I have people that say that they didn't get it, and then we look it up,
Yeah.
and the check has
Cashed on
been
Tuesday.
cashed, and I'm like, dude, like,
definitely
you
got it.
didn't get it. You guys
Can
deposited
I
it.
just recap some of the companies we've taken down? AT&T,
T-Mobile,
T-Mobile,
yeah.
The post office.
This is running akin to the first
Post
show I was
office.
ever
Donut
on,
shops.
where we
It's
took
you.
out 60% of the
Right.
North Shore and Merrimack Valley.
Don't forget donut shop.
Donut shop,
Yeah.
the whole closing
Yeah.
process, lenders in general,
Women.
women,
Women.
and men,
And men.
and men,
I think we got everybody.
Children.
Yeah.
children.
Let me ask a serious question while you do that. Is this the climate that I'm serious?
Okay.
Is this the kind of climate that causes a bubble?
No.
That we're in?
No,
No?
I don't think
Not
so
yet,
at all.
right?
I
Not
think
yet?
I think absolutely not. I think as opposed to a bubble. So when we had the bubble, let's take the most recent big bubble, right?
Yeah.
So we bubbled up in 2004, 5, 6.
Six.
Yep.
Popped in 7.
7, right?
Right.
8 was miserable.
So there was a whole bunch of factors that were in play. Primarily easy credit,
right.
Yep.
right, and low quality loans.
Loans,
Yeah.
Right.
We don't have
You
that.
don't
now.
have that
There
now.
are no
Because of
low
regulations?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or
Well, they
partially.
I don't think it's the regulations as much as it's the
The
self-regulation.
self-regulation.
Yes.
People are more cautious.
They got burned on both sides. I
Right.
think people are more cautious in general.
Right.
You've still got the nitwits that are like, I make $30,000 a year. I
Right.
want to borrow $1 million.
Right.
No.
Right.
Right.
I think people in general are more cautious. At least I'm seeing people buying a lot less house than they actually could afford.
Right.
Well,
See
right,
people
because
coming through that make $350,000 a year and saying they want to buy a $600,000 house. That's a lot less.
Yep.
That's
that person could go buy a $2 million
$2
house,
well,
and
because
they're
now
not.
they're more
Right.
interested in experiences and
Right.
spending their money on
Right.
other
I'd rather
things than a
sold my
house.
time.
I think
in
people.
Aruba.
I think people are more
Yeah.
in control, and I think banks are more leery of their own accord, not because of regulations per se, because there's
Right.
still a certain amount of push to do
do-
low income
Yeah.
homes and neighborhood investment and all these things that
Wow.
are designed to give people money they really can't afford.
Right.
Right.
I think this is all supply and demand right now. I don't see it as a bubble.
Right. Get
We're
ready.
not building. We're still not building enough houses.
Right.
So when should Tony sell his house is what he's asking.
Look, I will tell you, even though I'm saying it's not a bubble,
Yeah.
I think we're somewhere at the top.
We're somewhere. It's
So
gonna
I like
sound
to
do
I
your
like to tell people
analogy. Do
my
your-
analogy
Yeah, I like
is a
this.
mountain,
Yep.
Yeah.
and I don't know whether we're at the peak or not, but we're somewhere up in the snow.
Right.
And we might have a little more to go.
Right, right.
And we
But
might
we're
be,
out of the woods.
We might have, yeah, we're definitely above the tree line
Right, right,
somewhere.
right.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Now, do I think it's like a bubble where we're going to pop 25, 30% and suddenly
and go
everybody's
back
going
like
losing their
2000
minds
right,
and losing
right,
their houses?
right.
No. But do I think a 5, 8, maybe even 10% pullbacks out of the realm of possibility?
Right.
No, that's normal.
That still leaves me over $2 million, doesn't it?
It
Yeah.
does.
Okay, that's
You got-
fine.
Yeah.
As your
I'm fine.
attorney,
Thank
we're
you.
going to
I
advise.
asked my
Yeah.
attorney
You got
about
your-
that.
Yeah. So I'm telling
You
people.
got your make your move
Now,
price.
Let's
Sell.
get ready to write Wells Fargo Bank down on that piece of paper there.
Did they just get sued?
Yeah, again, how is it? How is it that a giant
With
bank
a B on it.
with-
Not millions,
no,
but
billions,
billions.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
they go, okay, we got that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they've stolen money from people.
Yeah.
How is somebody not in jail?
I like how they said, well, it's 1.5 on this, but
Yeah.
civilly we'll only go after him for $1 billion. I
Yeah.
go, well, that's still
this
with
is,
a B.
This is the part of the world I do not get. There's, if I steal $100 from you,
Yeah.
right? I'm going in front of a judge.
That's right.
And I'm going to jail, or if you push
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
Yeah.
These people still
And he will.
billions. He will, and I don't blame him.
Yeah.
It's his $100. He
Yeah.
could be buying lottery tickets with
Right.
that and hit it big.
Maybe he should.
Right. Maybe that's the ticket.
Wells
So-
Fargo. Yeah,
But
yep.
so these people now they stole people's identities. They opened accounts for people that they
I
didn't
worry
ask
about
for.
that stuff.
Right. And now they just got sued again. And the CEO is just drinking whiskey, smoking a cigarette, going, "Hey, take $1 billion. I'll be over here on my gold toilet if you need me." You know, I mean,
Pretty
how
much.
does-
Part of doing business, right?
how
Let's
does
write that one off.
But
Here's
why?
what's so crazy about Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo forever has been like the conservative,
Correct.
Yeah.
storied bank that didn't stoop to what the other banks did during the
Right.
crisis.
Right.
They were rock solid.
Right.
They were the ones that
Ones that
followed the
right,
rules. They
right.
didn't need the regulation, and then the rug just got pulled out from under them.
Right,
They're like,
right.
yeah, you guys were opened 65 million fake accounts for
Right.
people.
Well, see, I
Wow.
think they
$2 at a
right.
time.
The thing they got going for them is when you say Wells Fargo, you go back to the old Wells Fargo. They
The
think
thought
there's guys.
process,
No,
right.
they think there's guys on horses going, "I'll get your petticoat to the wedding, ma'am. Don't
Yeah.
you worry about
No.
it. Giddy up, yeah."
That's who I want to
I
know.
remember,
right?
I remember watching those Wells Fargo like executives on like the business shows in the crisis, like talking about basically up on their high horse,
Right, about
how their practices and their internal compliance was so much better than these Wall Street banks that got all
Best
a bunch
defense.
of bunch of knuckleheads.
Hey, it's not-
1.5 billion,
It's
yeah.
not us, it's them.
Yeah.
But imagine, I mean, you just open your wallet. Yeah, here's a 1.5 billion.
Yeah, with
That's
a B.
right.
And it doesn't scratch this. I mean, no one's
part of doing business.
No one's eating dog
No,
food.
there's a good story about during the financial crisis talking about $1 billion. The Fed required I forget whose book I was reading this in, but the Fed required Morgan Stanley to post collateral. They had all these
Okay.
collateral
Yeah,
calls,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So they required them to post $1 billion in additional collateral for something that they had
Right.
going on. Morgan Stanley didn't have the money anywhere except in bearer bonds. And they had to have this conversation about how to get this $1 billion in bearer bonds,
Yes.
like literal cash almost.
They're at the top of the Nakatomi building.
How do
I
we-
know where they are.
It's the pot of money. How do we get this to the Fed?
Right.
And they thought about, we call an armored card, we do this, do that. And they
Right.
what they ultimately decided was they just pulled a guy, one of the executives, stuffed him in a briefcase and walked it down the street to the Fed. They said everybody in New York has a briefcase. Nobody will think anything different.
They had $1 billion in bearer bonds.
Wow.
$1 billion in bearer bonds in a briefcase, walked
Now,
it down the
right.
street, handed it to the guys
Now,
at
if
the Fed.
I know my whodunits, a bearer bond is
cash.
whoever has it.
Has it, has it.
Who has it,
Yeah.
has it. So if that guy just got on a plane and walked off, wow.
Just walking down the
Wow.
streets of New
Right.
York.
Walking
Yeah.
down the streets of New York.
Excuse
What
me.
happened to the armored car idea?
Because they thought everything was going to attract too much attention to what they were doing with
Right,
$1 billion.
sure,
$1
right.
billion would bring out the crazy in a lot of people.
Of course
Well,
it
there's
would.
a reason you
Really?
have armored cars. There's a
I'm
reason.
sure it was a nice briefcase.
That's
You
true.
know, he didn't get it
It
at
was one of the
Target.
better duffel bags.
Get
they
Target
had.
down there. He didn't get it at Target.
that's
It's
true,
Probably,
yeah.
probably got it from the Hammaker Slimmer.
How do you fit in $1 billion in a briefcase?
Because it's
Bearer
bearer
bonds.
bonds.
It's
Yeah.
just paper.
Oh,
They
it's
could've
just
been- It's just
paper.
paper. Yeah, it's just
For
paper.
a humanitarian, you seem to be
But it's like
taking out
cash.
a
It's
lot of
untraceable, and if
people
you
today.
have it, you have
I'm
it.
up
It's
to
yours.
double digits.
So
Yeah.
if they just dropped it off somewhere else, they're gone.
He could have got on a plane.
Yeah.
I mean, if they didn't search
Flown
him.
to Aruba.
Flown to
Yeah.
Aruba, which is
No,
where
he would
I
have
am
to
hidden
go
out with
further than that.
You're in Vandersloot.
Oh, yeah. Don't bring up that name. Don't bring up that name in
Aruba.
Aruba.
We
Take
just
down
tarnished Aruba.
My,
Take it down.
my
Oh, you can't
spiritual
take
home.
them out.
No.
That's
Now,
gonna
are we
be-
going to do any more work, or is it going to be all play for the rest
Well,
of it?
we might have
We
to.
got a lot in,
We
Kath.
got a lot
We
in
talked
today.
about your
We were
notes.
gonna
I mean,
talk
to be
about-
fair, they're not that extensive.
All right.
We were going to talk
Pick
about
one more.
trends.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Quickly,
quickly.
trends. Trends. What do you have for trends?
Aside from the trend of no real estate to sell,
That's a trend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like we
in
talked
home-
about additions. Additions are back.
Additions
Yeah.
are
No,
back,
What
yeah.
is buyers looking for? I'm hearing. I'm
outdoor-
hearing they're
outdoor
less
living.
space and
Yeah.
more outdoor living.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it applies to houses and to rentals and condos.
You told us a nice little.
Like
Smaller-
common areas?
smaller units, smaller
You know
houses.
where I'd like to rent
more
from
outdoor
someone who has
spaces.
a golf simulator
Yeah.
at their place.
Me, come see me. We'll hook you up for
you
$3.40
Why does
a
she
square
roll her
foot.
eyes?
Wait, you
Everyone's-
got a golf simulator at your house?
No, it's
In
a
the
big
business
amenity in the
building.
apartment buildings. Golf simulators.
Oh, really?
Here's the multifamily amenity spread right now for a big Class A building. Right.
Right.
Golf simulators,
Yeah.
putting greens,
Yeah.
roof decks,
Beautiful.
co-working spaces.
These are in apartment buildings. Or
Co-working meaning that like it's a
a
communal
conference
place that you
room.
can go and plug your computer in and
Right, so almost like a lounge, but some with some offices and some with
Right,
some
right,
conference
right.
rooms, and it's
Oh,
for
that's
people that work
great.
from home. What
Yeah,
they've
yeah,
decided
yeah.
is you got all these people that work from home. They don't actually want to work in isolation.
Right.
They want to go into a big common space where they
Right.
can work alone, but
But
together.
be around.
Right,
No,
right.
what about a Starbucks? You need a Starbucks in there?
So the mini Starbucks franchises are in. You put them in
Yeah.
the lobby like you
See?
have at a Marriott,
Wow.
right? So
Yeah.
you're serving Starbucks branded stuff.
Yeah.
Do the-
Peloton studios,
do the s-
yoga studios.
Yeah.
Does the Starbucks have sleeping areas?
They do not.
We-
You can sleep
that-
on the floor though. I
that's
mean, that's
what
what
we-
Tony does.
well, they're mini Starbucks.
That's what we started last week.
What?
You haven't heard?
Starbucks should have little
little
sleep-
pods.
Yeah,
Like,
little
yeah.
pods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
people could just live
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, that's
You know,
good.
I know a guy, a buddy of mine, right?
Like the first class business, like the first class travel
Yeah.
pod.
Yeah,
You just
right.
go in.
Yeah.
Right. I had a buddy of mine who was a courier. You know,
Yep,
he did
yep.
courier work, bicycle, blah, blah, blah,
Yep.
blah. And he used to get a guy's coffee that was in the same building as the Starbucks. Like he was on the 12th floor.
Oh,
But he
really?
would have a courier come over,
Yeah.
get his coffee, and bring it up to
Nice.
him. He didn't even
You'd
want to
like
get in the
that.
I
elevator.
would love that.
I mean, lawyers love couriers.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest.
Yeah.
You guys courier a lot of things.
No,
Cat
nothing.
Used to.
Sure.
We
coffee
used
she
to.
does.
My coffee.
Can
Yeah.
you courier this to the registry for me?
No, yeah, we
still see it
we
once in a
e-file
while.
now. We don't even go to
Oh,
the
yeah,
registry.
it's all.
I
Like
see some-
I paid a speeding ticket in New York State in 30 seconds yesterday from a computer.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised you paid a speeding ticket in New York State.
I had to. I was speeding.
Listen.
Oh, you were
There
going to be a
was-
felon.
There was no.
It took me-
There was
it-
no way around it. I was
It
speeding.
took me like 30 days to figure out my daughter's speeding ticket in New York State.
Did it?
Yeah.
I know they sent it to. It's a money making thing. It was local. You know what
they
I
wouldn't
mean?
even
It
give me an
wasn't state.
amount.
Right.
So I couldn't, like, she
Oh
had
yeah,
to go
no.
to court.
First you have to plead guilty. Then they accept it. Then they tell you how much.
Oh,
they owe.
right.
And
Oh, that's a
conveniently-
scam.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
oh,
I ain't pleading guilty to
Right,
no
right.
$1,000 ticket. I
No,
want
no,
you better
it's-
show me the number.
Yeah,
Oddly
me too.
enough, the ticket is $107,
Can I
and
write
the
this down? Hang
surcharge
on.
is
Yeah,
93.
New York
New York
State.
State.
New York State
Yeah.
court
Throughway.
system. All right.
So it comes out to $200 even.
Oh, funny how that works.
It's weird how
yeah, it's
that,
just
like-
it's
And I did. The cop goes, "You know how fast you were going?" I go, "No idea."
yeah, no.
You're not
I
going to
don't
trick me on
care.
that one.
Yeah,
You're
no,
not
no,
gonna
I
trick
have
me
no
on that.
idea.
You know why we're pulling you over?
Nope.
Right, right.
Nope.
All right, so
No clue.
outdoor living, they like
Yeah.
the yoga studios, they like the Peloton, which is
Yeah.
the bikes, right?
Yeah, the guided classes on the bikes, not just a bike. I mean,
Yeah, they
it's
want
the- you know, it's- you're in
organized
a live
classes.
class, organized
Yeah.
classes, yeah.
So they like Starbucks or coffee shop or
Yep.
smoothie
Yep.
bar or
co-working spaces,
Co-working space.
co-living spaces. So what's really in now is like common lounge areas instead
Yeah.
of just a lounge.
Yeah.
Now it would have like a big like high-end kitchen like you'd find in a
Yeah.
$2 million house.
Right.
And you could live in an apartment building and throw a dinner party for 20 people.
Oh, yeah.
Cook out there.
Yeah.
You can all sit down at like a big, so
A big
Yeah.
dinner
yeah,
table.
exactly. So
and
those
then
kind of stuff.
not even have to clean up.
Yeah, in some cases,
it's
yeah,
not-
you wouldn't have
right,
to clean up
right.
because it would be staffed and you pay a
Right.
fee for that.
Yeah, that's great.
And then what this has allowed us to do in designing these is we scale the unit sizes down because what we're
Right.
discovering is people aren't doing anything in the unit. They're
Right.
doing everything out there. Little theaters, so a couple
yeah.
of theaters in a big
Oh,
building
we
where you
do-
can have sit like 10 people in like the big recliners and watch a movie.
We
or watch
do
whatever.
monthly. They do a comedy show at one of the high rises on Washington Street downtown.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
These people are not more than a quarter of a mile away from 3 comedy clubs.
right,
But they won't walk out the
No, you
door.
gotta do it
So
there.
they got to bring it in.
Yeah.
And they have a lounge, and it looks just like a comedy club. They put up a mic and a thing, and
Yeah.
once a month we do a
So
comedy
live,
show.
yeah, live programming
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
So-
big in whether it's comedy or paint night
yeah,
or,
yeah.
I
or,
actually
or
think I'm
glass
going to sell
blowing
my
or-
house.
I'm
I'm
moving-
selling my
I'm moving to
house.
Lynn.
I'm
I'll tell
telling
right
you.
now.
I'm telling you. So here's a stat, right?
Yep.
Ocean. There's 2 projects right now under construction, leasing up on Revere Beach. Ocean 650
Yeah.
and the Beach Club.
And
do
like
you-
$3,000 a month, right?
Yeah, yeah. But here's the stat: over $3,000 a month. They're averaging $330 a square foot.
Wow.
So here's the stat: over 65% of
Yeah.
the pre-leases
Yeah.
are baby boomers from the North Shore who are selling their houses and want to live on the beach.
Genius.
Nice.
Genius. Revere's coming into its
So
own.
they're paying cash.
They're just coming in.
So the
they're
So
Oh,
what
is that
the-
Revere or Lynn?
Revere.
What's a
That's
unit?
Revere Beach.
Like if you wanted to buy a unit, could you?
There might be some condo projects over there, but those
Right.
are both rentals.
They're rentals, and,
Yeah.
and you're saying it's $3,000 a month?
Yeah, upwards of $3,000 a
Upwards,
month. But yeah, but you're on
but
the
you
beach.
get-
You're on the
right.
beach. It's a full amenity
All
building.
Yeah.
amenities.
You're a hot second from Wonderland.
Right.
You
I
don't
mean-
even have to leave during a snowstorm or
No.
excuse
they
me.
did
You don't have
the-
to do any work.
Right.
You don't like that's awesome. I'm
If they did
I'm,
the
I'm
ca-
buying in.
If they did the casino right, you'd be 20 seconds away
Right.
from where it should be, which is at
Yeah.
Casino.
I mean, they're rebuilding.
of casinos.
We're reprogramming the way we think about housing because
Yeah.
what the amenity-driven buildings have made very apparent to people, as you just said, is unless you've got kids in a family where you need a house and a yard and a
yeah.
fence,
Right.
you don't need to live in a house.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I like
And
it.
you will have a better experience. You know, your
better
Saturdays aren't going to
life.
be spent mowing the lawn
Right.
and changing the oil and
Right.
doing all
Right.
these things. You're going to have
Yeah.
a better life.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. Steps away from Kelly's.
Steps away
Oh,
from
I'm
Kelly's.
so
Kel's
in.
cream.
Fried clams on a diet.
clams.
Yeah.
Stu,
And,
put the house on the market.
Sure. And
Wow.
and a nice soft serve.
Yeah. My fave.
We
That's-
had you right up till then.
Oh, right. No, I'm done.
All right,
Show's
we're
Wow,
done.
over.
we got a lot
Yeah.
in today.
Yeah, we took down a lot of
we
high.
took a-
1, 2,
full
3,
people.
4, 5. Oh, you lot.
Oh,
I-
double
Yeah,
digits.
yeah.
I had
It's well into
recapped them,
double
but
digits.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. Well, this is a nice show. We got
This
a lot
was a
of
great
information.
show.
We got a lot of words out.
Yeah.
Woo!
lot of
I mean, the
tomfoolery.
big takeaways are is there's a lot of crazy companies out there,
Yeah.
and there's not a lot of houses.
There you go.
Right.
Mr. Humanitarian, Tony V,
Thank you very much.
paralegal extraordinaire,
No, Apex.
Apex. She's an Apex paralegal.
boss lady. You have a
Yeah.
new name for her every time you're on there. And
I like her.
and the companies, Mike Procopio.
Yes, that's
Thanks
right.
for joining us.
Nice.
We'll see you next week.
Woo.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Café, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.